There's been plenty of features added to different Call of Duty games that haven't returned in a long time. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys a video where we go over the 10 features that I want to see return in Call of Duty within the future, because there's a lot of awesome features that have been left in the past. These are going to be features that may have appeared in one Call of Duty, they may have appeared in two, may have appeared in three, but overall they haven't been in a Call of Duty game in a few years, and I don't really expect them to come back anytime soon, but I really hope they do. And there's a lot of reasons why some of these I may think will return, some of these I don't think will return at all in any way, shape, or form. No chance, but I still want to talk about it because it's pretty fun to talk about it. So these aren't going to be in any particular order. We're just kind of gonna throw 10 of them out there and let's get into it. First things first, I want to see a free in-game currency added to Call of Duty alongside COD points. We've seen in-game currencies other than COD points plenty of times in Call of Duty, even dating all the way back to Black Ops 1, but obviously that was a very different time. There wasn't microtransactions, but once we started getting supply drops and stuff, I think it was Black Ops 3 that added the crypto keys for the first time, and then of course we saw them go even further with that, with the keys and the salvage being two different currencies within the game, as well as COD points being a whole nother currency within Modern Warfare Remastered, and of course Infinite Warfare. And then World War II had the salvage system, and Black Ops 4 had the reserve system. But once Modern Warfare 2019 came around, yes, they made some great changes when it comes to how we unlock DLC guns, but they made terrible changes in terms of cosmetics by not allowing us to earn really any cosmetics for free, other than a couple in the battle pass and a couple maybe within the game itself. But for the most part, skins are something that are going to be exclusive to the paid battle pass tiers or within the bundles in the shop, which are very expensive. So I would love to see an in-game currency. You can call it salvage, you can call it whatever. You wouldn't even have to change anything about the current systems. You would just add this extra currency where you can earn it maybe just from playing the game, maybe getting wins you earn more, maybe just from XP, like XP kind of transitions into salvage. You can earn it from maybe contracts, maybe there's daily rewards. I don't know, but there's many ways they can do it. And then they can let you purchase bundle items in the shop or whatever it may be with these salvage as well as with the COD points. So you can let people who play the game enough grind these items out and earn them for free rather than being forced to use their real money. That would be a fantastic change, and if they really wanted to, they can even split up the shop in 3 different sections. You can have stuff that you can use your COD points as well as your salvage on. You can have stuff that you only can use your salvage on. That'd be like really rare stuff that you can't get with real money, so it's more rare. And also maybe have some things that you can only use COD points for if they really just want to make more money. They don't feel like people being able to grind certain things. I don't really care, as long as you have stuff for me to grind for via just playing the game, doing contracts, trying to win games. That would be amazing, and it would completely change how I play these games, because I don't have much of a motivation to play Modern Warfare 2019 or Black Ops Cold War or Warzone anymore, really, because there's not really much for me to do. I want to go back to Black Ops 4, World War II, Modern Warfare Remastered, Infinite Warfare, because there's so many things I can unlock in those games, whether it's variants, whether it's skins, camos, I don't know, whatever it is, there's at least stuff for me to work for. I don't have that in these new games. The battle pass is kind of boring. It's just the same tiers over and over again. There's really no way to speed up the tiers. They just kind of go just by playtime. There's no contracts for me to make the tiers go by faster or anything, and you just get the same things as everyone else, so there's really no choices. I don't like the system. I'm not a fan of it. That's the first feature I would love to return. Up next, we got the custom class firing range. This has been in 3 Call of Duty games, and that's it, and it's a crime that we haven't seen it since World War II. So we saw this in Advanced Warfare, we saw this in Modern Warfare Remastered, and we saw this in World War II, and it was such a cool feature. While you're in custom classes and you're looking at your classes, you can press a button, and it will take you to this firing range where you can test out your weapons, test out the recoil, test out the damage. You can just look at how the gun looks, maybe inspect it. In World War II, you can inspect your weapons in that game, so you can look at your weapons, see what it looks like with a camo on. So before you actually go into the match itself, you can test your stuff out. You can look at it, you can try out all sorts of attachments. You know how awesome this would be in Modern Warfare and Cold War with the gunsmith system, because the gunsmith allows you to do some crazy stuff with your guns. Be able to just hop into a firing range like that just from, the custom classes would be amazing, and I don't really get why it hasn't returned. I'm assuming it has to do with the development thing, like it takes time to work on a firing range and put it together, because there's no way they don't think people want this. I think this is one of those features that people absolutely loved and was so useful. I know a lot of casuals maybe don't use it that much because they don't really care, but it's one of those things that, like, it was just so nice to be able to test out your weapons before you even hop into a match. I didn't have to go back and forth testing out stuff. Maybe because you can customize your classes in game now, that's why they don't think you need a firing range. But I don't want to sit there in a match testing out different attachments while I'm trying to play Call of Duty. I want to do it before the game. I want to do it while I'm still within the menus. That's why firing range was so great. Nowadays, I'm like trying different attachments out during a match. That slows down the pacing of the game for other people who don't want to see other players on the menu screen the whole game. Like, you don't want to stop us from playing the game just because you don't have a feature in the menus that should be there and would make for some awesome things. And just, I want this feature to return. This is probably the feature I want to return. Maybe second most, I don't know. I think the in-game currency I want to return the most, but this is probably the second most. I would love to see this again. Hopefully Sledgehammer brings it back for World War II Vanguard. Next up, I got field orders from Call of Duty Ghost. Just a heads up, you're going to see a lot of features on this list from Call of Duty Ghost and Advanced Warfare. Even though those two games I don't love that much, they're some of my least favorite multiplayers to date, they have some amazing features that have been very unique to those games. So field orders was a feature we've only seen in Ghost. We kind of saw something a little similar in Infinite Warfare with the mission teams, how they gave you these challenges within each game and you had to kind of complete the challenges and it would level up your mission team. But this was a little different in that it was a challenge that only one person got at a time from a field order. And when you did the challenge, you were rewarded with a care package. And care packages were not actually a kill streak in Call of Duty Ghost. You could only get care packages through this. Now, most of the time you would just get any random kill streak from the care package if you did the field order challenge, but a lot of maps also had map specific score streaks or kill streaks, whatever you want to call them, that were only available on those specific maps. So what that did is it made it so you really wanted to get those care packages. You wanted to get those field orders so you can get these map specific streaks, which a lot of the time were a lot of fun. Some examples, of course, Michael Myers on the Fog map, you had the Predator on the Ruins DLC map, and even some other random stuff, like there's just some special missile strikes that are only available on certain maps. The Harrier, which we all know, the Harrier from Modern Warfare 2 was brought back on a DLC 4 map, only on that specific map. There was an AC-130 brought for the Favela remake. A lot of cool things like that that were specific to maps, and made the maps feel more different than one another because they had these specific things that were only available on those maps. You know, I'm all about maps being diverse and different, but I also want the layouts to be mostly the same because you don't want the layouts to go random and crazy like Modern Warfare 2019, but you don't want them to be too cookie cutter either. But I think the best thing they can do is to make the maps feel differently in terms of features, and a good feature would be, of course, field orders and how you can earn different kill streaks. Now, I do think that it would kind of mess with objective modes like domination. You don't want people doing objectives like, sometimes some of the objectives would be like getting 1 kill while prone. That's going to slow down the pace of the gameplay because now that player is going to be sitting in prone somewhere waiting to get a kill. You got to make the challenges a little bit more interesting, a little bit more intertwined with the specific mode. Let's say you're playing domination, the challenge should be something like get 2 kills while defending a flag or something. Make it kind of specific to the mode you're playing in a way, so it kind of makes people more involved with the objective. I think that would be a great idea. If you're playing free-for-all or team deathmatch, yeah, you can kind of make the challenge whatever the hell you want, really. But if it's an objective mode, I think it's a good idea to make the challenges tailored to the specific objective of the mode that you are playing. Next up is a feature that we've seen a decent amount through COD, and that's dynamic maps. But it's something we haven't seen enough, and I really think they need to do more with this. It kind of connects to what we were just talking about with me wanting the maps to be very different from one another in terms of their, features and such. We saw this the most in COD Ghost and Advanced Warfare. Some of the maps had actual events that would happen halfway through the map. They started this in Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 had a couple of maps like Launch, for example, where the rocket ship shot up halfway through the match, and it kind of killed people that were below it, and was kind of just a cool thing to see happen halfway through the map. We saw a couple more maps like that in Black Ops 1, but then we didn't really see it again that much until Ghosts, and Ghosts went hard with it. I mean, they had tons of cool map features, even just little things like being able to blow up walls or shooting a log and the log falling down, little things like that that felt gimmicky, but were still fun and unique. And then Advanced Warfare went like crazy with it and had a lot of map-based events, like the one map Defender, which literally had a tsunami come in halfway through the match. They had another map that literally made you move sections of the map. I believe that map was called Recovery, I think. I'm not too sure, but that map literally made you move to a whole nother section of the map for the second half of it, which was really cool and interesting. And they also had maps like in the DLC, like Drift, which had an avalanche happen halfway through the map. A damn avalanche. That is so cool. I would love to see more stuff like this, and I was so disappointed to see Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare not follow suit with this, and we haven't really seen much of that lately either. And you might say, oh, well, then the maps aren't going to be good for competitive, and to that I say, you can literally just turn off the events for competitive then. There was literally a feature in custom games in Advanced Warfare which let you turn off map-based events and the dynamic features of these maps. You can turn them off so competitive doesn't have to deal with that stuff. Simple fix. It's not that complicated. I think this would be awesome. I would love to see it again, but again, it takes more development time to obviously create like map events happening. It's not going to be something they can do really easily, and I'm sure if they had more development time, they might actually dip their toes into these type of things a little bit more often. This next one might be a little controversial, but it's going to be map weather variants. So we've seen this a few times throughout Call of Duty, mainly within Black Ops 4. That's when they went the hardest with it. We saw it back in Black Ops 3 with Redwood Snow. I think we also saw it with, Fringe. They had a nighttime Fringe. And we've seen it a couple times before where there's been certain variants of maps like Nuketown and Black Ops Cold War. They had the Christmas variant. We've seen Christmas variants of other maps as well. I want to see them do this more often though, and the reason why is because I don't really know if it takes them that much time to do. I remember a lot of people when Black Ops 4 did this, they were complaining because they were like, no, we want new maps, but you have to realize the time it takes to make one brand new map probably equals the time it takes to make like 5 or 6 weather variants, because the weather variants, they're not making a whole new map. They're just taking the existing map and adding some weather elements, whether it be making it nighttime or making it stormy or making it snowy. Definitely takes some time to do that, but not nearly as much time as making a whole new map. So personally, I'd rather have 5 or 6 weather variants being added to the game instead of just one new map in replacement of that. So I was okay with it. I absolutely loved it actually in Black Ops 4 because there were some really cool map variants, especially on some of my favorite maps. Arsenal Sandstorm was a little iffy. They actually removed it completely because people hated it. But stuff like Contraband, which had a Hurricane variant, you had Seaside Sunset, you had Firing Range Night, you had Hacienda Twilight, which people thought was a little too dark. I don't really think that was a problem because in Black Ops 4, the characters literally had like red lights on them, so it was pretty easy to see enemies. I really didn't have a problem with that at all. And there's a couple other variants as well. I think this would be a cool thing to bring back. I wouldn't mind if they had one for like every single map in the game. Sure, it would take some time to do, but I like the idea of it, and I kind of hope we get more of that in the future. We kind of are seeing that every now and then. It's just we don't see it nearly as much as I hope we would. You know, we saw it with Miami, but Miami was a little different because that's like a completely new version of Miami. They just decided to make it daytime. They kind of change it up a little bit, make it a lot more different than what the original Miami was, because people weren't a big fan of how dark Miami was. So Miami Strike made it brighter, made it smaller, made sense. But I want to see this for more maps. I think it'd be really cool to see, and yeah, that's going to be number 5 spot here. Next up is going to be wager matches. So this is a feature we only saw in Black Ops 1 and hasn't really returned since. Of course, we still get the party modes that you saw within wager matches, but you couldn't do the fun wagering of your in-game currencies. Now, this would work really well with the number 1 spot here. If you had an in-game currency like salvage, you could wager your salvage. I don't think they would ever let you wager your COD points because COD points obviously are something that you have to buy with real money. I don't think they want people gambling real money. They don't. But if there was an in-game currency like salvage, I don't think it would be like gambling at all if you were able to gamble your salvage within the game. I think it's fine. It's not really gambling necessarily because you're still playing the game. It's just putting some money in. It's not all luck based, obviously. I think it would be fun because it makes the stakes a little bit higher. It makes them more intense when there's something on the line, when you know you put 100 salvage into this game. If you win it, you're going to get 100 more salvage. But if you lose it, you're going to lose that 100 salvage that you put into it. It makes those party games a lot more intense and fun. And honestly, party games is a big thing that we haven't really seen that consistently in the past couple Call of Duties. Instead, they'll kind of throw in a mode every now and then. They'll have like prop hunt for a month or two. Then they'll put in gun game. Then they'll put infected, but they won't put them all in at once. I get why they do it. They care more about retention. They want to make it exciting when these new modes come out, but can you just keep them forever? Why do you have to remove them? Like, LTMs to me are the stupidest things ever, but I want to see stuff like gun game, sharpshooter, one in the chamber, sticks and stones, infected, all these modes consistently in the game with a wager match like system in it, so you're kind of wagering your in-game currencies in order to try to earn it. Or try to get more. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And yeah, that's another feature I would love to see. Next up is going to be pick 10, or at least something similar to pick 10. You can do pick 10, you can do pick 13, you can do pick 15, you can do pick 20. I don't give a shit. Just something other than what we currently have, because what we currently have sucks. Okay, I love Gunsmith. I think Gunsmith is really cool, but the fact that it forces us one perk of each tier, it forces us equipment, it forces us a secondary, it forces us at least five attachments. Obviously, you could choose to have less attachments, but it's not going to make a difference. You're not getting anything in return, you're just getting less attachments. So there's no reason not to use all 5 attachments. I hate that. I hate being forced to have one of each thing in a specific manner. Let me customize my class more like you could with pick 10. Let me remove my primary and get more attachments on my secondary. Let me remove my secondary completely and get more attachments on my primary. Let me get more perks, but then get less attachments. Let me get more attachments, then less perks. Let me remove my equipment to get more of something else. But it has to be sacrifices to keep it balanced. Right now in Black Ops Cold War, you can get like 8 attachments on your primary with basically no sacrifices. It's kind of a stupid system. I'm not a fan of that. There's barely any customization when you restrict us to having specific things, and I can't make a decision of what my class will be like. Instead, I have to do exactly what they're telling me, and especially when the perks aren't properly balanced. I kind of use the same perks like every class pretty much. That's not fun. They definitely need to work on the class system. I think going back to pick 10 or some sort of system like it would be the best idea. Next up, we have score streak attachments. So this is something we only saw within Advanced Warfare and kind of in Infinite Warfare with the streak variants, but not in the same way. I loved this system. The only reason it didn't really work that well in Advanced Warfare though, and why I think they would need to tweak it substantially, is because in Advanced Warfare, you had it so they removed a lot of like really good streaks that we all know and love throughout COD history, because they made attachments turn certain streaks into those streaks instead. Like, for example, they didn't have a counter UAV and they didn't have an advanced UAV, because you can use the UAV with attachments and turn it into an advanced UAV, and I believe the system hack can also kind of turn into a counter UAV. But the reason why I didn't like that is because I want to be able to use multiple of the same streak. I want to be able to use a UAV and advanced UAV in one class. You couldn't do that here because it's the same thing, you know? So if you want to make it an advanced UAV, well, now you can't get a regular UAV, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of other things like that in the game as well. Like, you can take the sentry turret off of its thing and turn it into like a death machine. But what if I wanted a death machine and a sentry turret, you know what I mean? So what they could do is, I mean, kind of what Infinite Warfare did with streak variants, or you could just do what they have now with, you know, your normal, you know, score streaks like in Black Ops Cold War, but have attachments. Just don't have the attachments take away other streaks that are going to exist in the game anyways. You know, if you want to make the UAV more powerful, make it more powerful, but don't make it so it does the same thing that the advanced UAV does, so the advanced UAV loses its purpose. You can still have attachments that still upgrade and make the streaks better while also making them cost more, so they're a little bit harder to get. But it's a fun system because it lets you customize just an extra thing. You know, I love customization, and I think having those options are fantastic because there's more stuff to do. There's more stuff to mess around with. You can see what's the best combination possible. Of course, there's a sacrifice that you have to make because now the streaks are going to cost more. They're going to be harder to get, but they'll be more powerful. This will solve a lot of the issues we have with streaks currently in Call of Duty, because a lot of them are kind of weak in Cold War especially. Imagine if we can upgrade them, make them better, but they're going to cost more. That would be worth it to me. I would be willing to go for an extra 1,000 score streak or something like that, like the gunship's 10,000. I'd be willing to make that gunship cost 1,000 more score to get if it's going to be much more powerful. Of course I would. That would be a lot more fun. It would give me more variety of options, and it would give other players more variety of options, so we see more stuff going on in the games, and you can make current streaks just a lot better. Maybe different, maybe very different. I don't know. Maybe you can have the grenade launcher, shootouts, some other type of projectile. I don't know. Have fun with it. But yeah, I would love to see score streak attachments return in some way, shape, or form. That would be awesome. Number 9 is going to be full body customization for your character. I love character customization in video games. I think it's pretty fun. Even if you can't see your own character, I still enjoy doing it. And that's an issue obviously I've had with the past 2 Call of Duties because a lot of the cosmetics you can't really earn for free. We talked about that before. But when it comes to actually putting your characters together, I've also been kind of disappointed with the fact that the skins from the past couple Call of Duties have been one full body suit skin for different characters. Like you get the operators and you get a different skin for each one. That's it. There's just a skin. There's no variety there. You just have a skin. There you go, right? You can get this skin, you can get that skin, you just kind of mix and match what skin you want. It's not terrible, but I much prefer what Advanced Warfare did, where you had full body customization. You can earn different things for your character, different pieces of gear, and then you can put it all together. They could still have what they have now, just have it so you could also earn different pieces of different sets, and then maybe you can also buy the whole bundle, which comes with all the different pieces of the set together, so it kind of comes together, or you can try to earn the pieces of the set individually. I don't know, but I liked having different things so you can mix and match things. You can have a gingerbread character while also having a ice exosuit or something. I don't know. There's a lot of different things you can do in Advanced Warfare with the character customization. Maybe don't go too crazy with it. We don't really need to customize our knee pads necessarily, but having pants, then maybe some sort of a shirt, maybe some sort of, you know, a headpiece. I don't know. Even Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare and a couple other CODs, they had it so it was like the body and the head being 2 separate pieces, and you had to kind of like mix and match different things between the body and the head. I think that would be fun. I have no problem with them just making it like that currently how it is, but just also including more earnable things that are separate, so you can either have the choice to make it a full body set like it is now, or you can have, you know, separate things. I don't know. I think it would just add a lot more variety to the character customization and would be a lot more fun in the end. And the last feature I would like to return to Call of Duty: specialists. And yes, I am not joking, okay? Let me explain though, let me explain. So specialists have been implemented, I would say poorly for the most part, but the idea of them, I want to see return. The only thing you have to do for specialists is make them so they're passive. Make it so they can't actually have lethal abilities. You know, that's the issue we had with them, is that they felt like they were free kill streaks. You pull out like a, I don't know, flamethrower, now you're just decimating the whole team. You didn't really earn that necessarily. Maybe you did, you earn it quicker than someone else because you got more kills, sure, but you're still going to earn it regardless of how good you are in that match, most likely, especially if it's a longer match like of domination or something. But if you make it so all of the specialist abilities are passive abilities, like in Black Ops 3, how they had a weapon and an ability, everyone had that, you know, weapon and ability, make it so you only can use the abilities, right? So everyone just has abilities. I have no problem with the abilities. I never have had problems with the abilities. Being able to go invisible, that's fine. Being able to go a little bit faster, that's fine. Being able to do this or that, I don't mind those abilities. I think they're kind of fun and actually add a lot of intrigue to the mode. And they kind of do have that now with the field upgrades. The field upgrades are kind of like passive abilities from specialists. I just think it's more fun if you have specific specialist characters in the game that have their own personality, almost like we saw in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. It makes it kind of interesting. You know what I mean? There's an interesting story there. You know, with the operators now, I don't really feel attached to the operators in any way, shape, or form. I know some of them are iconic characters that we know and love from the campaign, but at the same time, they don't have any, you know, unique things about them. They're just skins. When you have specific specialists that do different things, it kind of makes it more meaningful to play as different ones. Like there's specific ones that I primarily played as, like Black Ops 4, I almost always used Crash. I kind of felt attached to Crash, and I was interested enough to look up his story because there was a story behind the specialists. All of them had story behind them. Of course, they could utilize that in a campaign, maybe have a full-on campaign with the specialist. They could definitely do something like that to give even more intrigue. But when it comes to their weapons, just make those score streaks. You know, that's not that hard. Or this is a better idea. I just came up with this on the spot. They could still have their specialist weapons, but these specialist weapons are attached to some sort of a score streak. So it's like separate from your score streaks, but you still have to earn it on a score streak. So you're not gonna get, like, let's say you play as Firebreak and you wanna get the flamethrower, you only can get the flamethrower if you go on, let's say, a 2000 score streak. Well, I mean, that's in Black Ops Cold War's terms. If we're talking about a normal Call of Duty with normal streaks, maybe it'd be like 1000 score streak or something, and you earn the flamethrower from Firebreak, and you get that no matter what, you know, separate from your other 3 streaks that you might put on your class or whatever. This is a separate thing. That could be awesome. But then your passive ability you automatically get just by time, you know, it just eventually will give you it, and it goes a little faster the more kills you get. Brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. I just came up with that. That makes it so you're not getting free kills. You're just getting some cool abilities every now and then that kind of, you know, spice up the game a little bit, make it more interesting. They can have specialist equipment too, but again, make the equipment passive, like barbed wire or something from Black Ops 4. That really didn't bother me at all. It made the characters unique, and I kind of like that. So I would love to see that again. I don't need to see that again. This is one of those features, kind of like take it or leave it, but it's an interesting thing I would love to see again. It's just something that I know people wouldn't be too happy about, regardless of how it's implemented, because you know how people are. Once they see something done poorly, they don't give a shit about it ever being done again. Like supply drops, they can do supply drops perfectly well. People still don't want to see them ever again. You know, it's just the idea of them that just bothers people, and I think specialists are kind of the same deal, no matter how good they could implement specialists in any way. So that is my top 10, or not really top 10, it's just kind of 10 features that I would like to see return to Call of Duty within the future. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I'm sure there's a couple things I could have thought of that weren't on this list. Like headquarters from World War II is definitely something I think I would like to see returned as well, but it just didn't make the list. Let me know yours in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.